Well, here we are back at Baba Yaga in the showroom. Navi's taking a cute little nap, scratching her ear. She's our mascot. She's super cute. We got Alan holding everything down for the audio and video. And we are here with my friend Juliet Daniel.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Dude, we talked about it a little bit earlier when I sent you that text this morning, but it blows my mind that, well, one, you were our third guest on episode 3, and that was an 2
honor.
years ago.
Yeah. Look at you guys keeping up a podcast and interviewing some heavy hitters over the course of 2 years now. That's crazy. Time flies.
Time does fly. And what's crazy is like listening to that conversation and being like, oh my gosh, like I need to, it's interesting to like have these conversations and those ideas I was having at the time and how I've kind of like lost touch with some of those things. So I think it's like really cool to be able to like, one, that we're still doing it and we can have like a follow-up episode 2 years later to follow up to see like what you've been up to over the last couple of years and what you have coming up. But then also just trying to like get reacquainted with those ideas and see if like I even still believe in some of those things I was talking about and like how things have changed, you know?
Yeah, totally. As the interviewer or the interviewee, it's like definitely a time capsule. It's like I feel disembodied, like a different person when I go back and read my journal entries, or sometimes when I'm just like, it occurs to me when I'm performing a song, like, oh man, I wrote that song and it reflected what my reality was then. And you kind of need to like perform it again. Like some things just do become a performance, but other things you sort of feel still connected to. But yeah, I guess podcast is art as well. So it makes sense why you would feel kind of different in a different light. I heard a quote recently: you never step in the same stream twice because you've changed or the stream has changed. So when you reread a book or rewatch a show or whatever it is, re-listen to an album, it's not always going to hit you the same. And I guess that includes your own work.
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of makes me think of this conversation I was having the other day where it's like whenever I'm watching this or like I'm perceiving myself on video, whether it's through the band or through this podcast, I don't feel like I'm actually watching myself. And then I was like, oh, well, you know what? I'm not watching myself. I'm watching like who I was.
That's kind of trippy. That's cool.
You know, it's like, that's not me anymore. That was me in that like one little moment.
Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting to like perceive yourself.
It is.
Through video.
We all have to do it. Like, it's not even just artists or creators or like influencers or whatever. It's everybody's pretty much making videos of themselves and everybody has a camera in their pocket. So, yeah, it's weird. But it's nice that we can have that information to look back on, and very cool of us that we freaking made that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's so cool. And I'm happy to have you back. And you sent over the last 2 years, you have been really busy and accomplishing a lot. I'm really excited to dive into the music you released this year, especially with that compilation album you did. But let's see. Okay, so it's been 2 years since the last time that we talked. That was right before we did our Food Lifeline show at Numos.
Yes.
And for this EP that you just released, that was like collaborative with some other Seattle artists, you guys had a release show at Barboza.
We did.
Yeah, so let's talk about that release show. Who all was there?
Yeah, that was a ton of fun. So every collaborator from the Collabs EP was there, which was really great because I had 5 different artists / bands from the Seattle scene on the project, which are Moretti, Avery Cochrane, Camille Kano, Instant Crush, and Justin Harden. And so we all were on stage at the end of all that, and it was just a freaking party. And we performed all the collaborations sequence by sequence, and aired a bunch of our skits that we made, kind of corporate core, campy 80s skits, which were so much fun to have everyone see. So I really wanted to make it like an event for people and not just have it be like, oh, we're going on stage and playing music, which is great, don't get me wrong, but I felt like for a headline show, I wanted to kind of make it something different. And I felt like it was the first time that I really was able to communicate in a visual and also sonic way, like what I'm about through the lens of what makes me different, instead of trying to like adhere to a specific genre of music or like mimic a specific pop star that I'm really into at the time. I'm kind of getting more comfortable with just this being me and knowing that that is artistic enough, not having to like be like another artist and be like, only then will I be artistic. A lot of things about me, like the whole corporate tech background, I find to be pretty ordinary, but I think I think a lot of us miss what our individual strengths or differences are, or are kind of embarrassed about them. And I was a little bit embarrassed for a time. And I find it now to be something that I can relate to others about. And I feel like I created a space where other people could see what I was about and stand up and be like, oh my God, I'm about that too, or that resonates with me in that way. And I felt like we really created a community atmosphere there, especially with the nature of a collabs EP. And so many people to thank for the show. I mean, of course, Barboza themselves, Barboza Numos, are just amazing people. I'd also like to thank my friend Shay Rose for DJing the night and keeping the vibes, the energy really high up there. And also, obviously, my band, folks we had on sound, on set design too, like this here Post-it is kind of a memory from all of that experience. Like those who were on the film crew with me, who made the skits, those who filmed the show itself. So that'll be out online somewhere pretty soon. Okay. We got everything from the soundboard. Especially I would like to thank Sonic Guild and Bloodworks Northwest for sponsoring the show.
No way.
And helping us like take it to the next level, because it is a huge investment. Like the economics of playing a show are such that a lot of artists, not just local artists, but also touring artists I know, are losing money potentially. And we do care about our craft, but it's like we got to economize in some way. So it's not like we spent a ton of money and made it really lavish, but I just want to be able to pay my friends who believe in my project, and have an amazing craft and are really generous, but I want to be able to pay them at least a respectable amount, and hopefully more in the future. And that grant helped me to do that. And it helped me to feel justified about kind of banding together and raising the production value of everything, and knowing that would be taken care of. It went super well. I really enjoyed that show. It's my only headline show of the year, and I'm very excited to kind of sit back for the next one and just perform.
Yeah, that is really kick-ass. I'm super curious about how what your approach was to Sonic Guild. Did you see that they had a grant for something like this, or did you just reach out to them cold, like, hey, maybe you guys would be able to help me?
Yeah, well, so there's a grant that happens, I believe, once every year called the Music's in Our Blood grant. And so it's a partnership between Bloodworks Northwest and Sonic Guild Seattle chapter to raise awareness for the importance of blood donation in our community and community health, how much that connects all of us, how a lot of folks don't realize that they're eligible to donate blood and that it actually doesn't take that much time, that it's easy to just set up an appointment online. I think it takes 10 minutes to sit down and donate blood. And we actually need 1,000 donors a day to keep our local blood supply strong.
That's a lot.
And only 10% of people, so 90% of people don't donate, who are eligible to donate. So there's a huge untapped potential there, and a lot of folks who are lucky enough to stand on our feet or play shows or listen to music in a really like kind of grittier local venue environment, like go down the entire flights of stairs at Barboza and everything. Like chances are not all of us, but a lot of us are able to donate blood or spread the word or whatever it is. So I think that there are 10 artists every cycle that go through it, and I'm really excited to catch some of the other artist shows this year. But it's a really amazing program, and it's a really cool partnership. And health and wellness is something that I'm really passionate about as a person. So it made a lot of sense for me, and I'm really grateful to Kay Van Petten for putting this grant potentially like on my radar. They invited me over email. And we've just kind of been in contact about a lot of things. Like they're a big advocate for artists around the community. And I'm just really appreciative of what Sonic Guild does and all of the grants that they have. They have a touring grant. They have their kind of main flagship grant as well. Yeah. So they have a ton going on. And it's really worth looking into. But that's something that I want to be doing more of. I think not just for the sake of myself, but for the sake of being able to pay the people who support my project. I think in music, we can learn a thing or two from like film crews who generally rely on a larger team of people to get anything done at all. And I think in music, you actually can do a fair amount just yourself or with a very small group of people. Yeah. But I think that things get better once you can entrust more of your friends and bring more people in. And that's something that I want to be able to do sustainably. So that really motivates me right now to be reaching out for more help.
Yeah, it's kick-ass. No, yeah, I love that. It's definitely nice whenever you can kind of expand and involve more people, and then it's kind of fun that way. And And then you might, you know, have people be inspired to continue to find other ways to get involved in production, whether it's like through film or music or something like that.
Yeah.
Whenever we shot our first music video, I was like, wow, what a vibe to be on set. And this is so cool. And I love the magic of everything coming together. So I'm hoping that I can find ways to involve myself more in film. And maybe be behind the camera in other ways.
Hell yeah, totally. I mean, I think one of the last, I think I saw you after that too, because we're around, we're in the scene. But saw you at Scope screenings, I remember, in the summer, and that was so really cool. Fun. We both had our music videos playing. Mm-hmm. I loved your guys' video, man. Like everybody was just, it was a mood booster for everyone. It was fun loving and so artsy at the same time.
Yeah.
Nice work on that.
No, yeah, Scope screenings is really dope. And it's cool to see how there's like this underground movement for like the local Seattle community of filmmakers and people who are passionate about that, and how there's like this outlet to reach out and get people involved, whether it's like you're just like a fan of film or you want to get involved. It's a really good way to like actually meet people. I told you I went to this Polish festival, Polish film festival yesterday, and I was hoping there'd be sorry, Navi's taking a nap over there. It's so cute.
Oh my god. She's sleeping.
Yeah, our voices are just so soothing. But yeah, I was expecting, or I was hoping that I'd be able to like meet directors and producers and people who were like involved in like the production aspect of making films happen. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately that wasn't the case. But that's what I really liked about Scope Screening is you can meet all of those people. You can meet directors and writers and cinematographers and actors, and they're all there to meet other people because they want to lift each other up and make more things happen. Which is really cool because I remember when I was listening to our old conversation, we talked a lot about how Seattle very much so almost is needed to come together to uplift each other as a community, because this isn't a music industry town where there's like a lot of infrastructure for music growth for people, in the sense there's like no big business here or like A&R reps to like
we're artists
people.
Doing ourselves.
It's a lot of us just doing it ourselves, so we have to like help each other out and figure out how we can promote each other and make more things happen. But I think over the last 2 years I've seen a lot of growth in the Seattle scene and a lot of movement, and a lot of people doing really cool things, from like music videos to trying to make shows more than just a show. So yeah, I'd love to talk more about the producing of your compilation record, because I think the last time that we talked to you, we were talking about how much you've been learning in the production sphere. Mm-hmm. So I imagine over the last 2 years, because you released a lot of music, I think you released something like 3 EPs or like 12 songs or something like that. I have
released a bunch of music. Yeah, I'm like, since then, I guess that was pre-Egomania, Alter Egomania as well, which was, I think, 6 tracks on top of what the 7 tracks were. So that did feel kind of slightly like a new project, although I think 3 of those were remixes, so it wasn't as much overhead for me. But yeah, there were those, and then I just recently released All My Friends Are Stars, and so that's my most recent EP. So it kind of is 3 EP releases. I've changed my release strategy a little bit now, just kind of knowing more of what I know about the music business, or think I know, or have been told by others, and the way that the music is changing as well. So I'm a lot more along the lines of like, let's just release song by song what we're doing, and let's not wait to release like 3 songs or more at one time. One thing I'm curious about is like kind of split single releases, where it's like a 2-pack single, and kind of going off of that. Like, I'm a big fan of Magdalena Bay, and I've been saying that they've been doing that, but I also feel like it's kind of my call as the artist in the state that I am in. I'm not going to copy something just because somebody else who already has a sizable fan base is doing it. I think on the other hand, like the compilation of collabs EP, I feel like that was inspired by artists on the larger scale and the smaller scale, and just the collabs culture that I want to see in the world, and how I feel like Seattle could have a specific sound, or Seattle has a lot of different sounds actually, but I did want to create some kind of showcase for what would it sound like if I remade 5 of my favorite songs of mine with people that I've been dying to work with. And it's so nice to have something that's a very clear vision to work on, because I've definitely been in rooms where I've been working with someone who's also very talented, or multiple people who are also very talented, and somehow the outcome isn't always like the summation of y'all's talents and abilities. And like sometimes that just kind of comes over time, and it's totally fine to like obviously not release everything that you work on, of course. But it's also nice to have a little bit more confidence that like, hey, I like this song enough to put it out. You like this song. I've been sitting on this song for a year plus, and now I can think of ways that I would change it if I made it today. So it was gratifying from that perspective as well, kind of getting the opportunity to reimagine my songs for the sake of that in itself. I used to be a lot more like straight down the middle pop, and I think I was listening to a lot more of that kind of thing, and now I am skewed a little bit more towards indie. Even though I know my bias is always going to be towards pop, I feel like I've been, in terms of what I've been listening to, I've been trying to listen to more like indie and hyperpop at the same time, which can be a little bit different because one's more live instrument oriented, one's more electronic oriented. But for now, I think I'm like sticking a little bit more with the indie side of things. But this collaborations EP, All My Friends Are Stars, it was a really good opportunity to experiment with different sounds. I think overall it ended up being pretty cohesive, also thanks to the mastering process, since we had Matthew Wolk master through the whole thing, and he knew roughly what the track order was going to be. So there was some element of standardization. And I guess you could say that I like executive produced it, kind of, but not really. Like, I think that in terms of the heavy lifting on production, that was really done like track by track. But of course, I was making calls and I was giving direction based on how I knew the whole thing was going to end up. So from that perspective, yes. But as far as like producers on the new EP, Nobody's Fool was produced by Tim Graham, or TRG, as a lot of people know him, and he produced the original Nobody's Fool as well. So yeah, that was really neat. I know Justin, who's their collaborator on that, not just a feature. It's not really a features EP. It's like, I really wanted to go beyond the like, hey, here's a blank verse. Let's see where we go from here. And I wanted to reimagine it a little bit more. So I'm glad we did that on every track. Nobody's Fool is pretty true to what the original was, and we really liked it that way. So it made sense to have the same producer on that. I think we had TRG mix it as well. So that was pretty straightforward. That was actually the first one that was done, and also the first one that's released, and it's definitely one of my favorite songs of mine. So I'm really glad that that's out there, and Justin added such a cool spin on it. But yeah, we recorded the guitar solos, the new guitar solo in like my bedroom studio at the time. So like a lot of it was, I guess, kind of, you could say glorified recording engineer, but yeah, I guess Justin did a fair amount of the production on that one too, since he was adding a lot of like the tones and the specifics on like how he wanted his vocals processed as well. So we all kind of pitched in. We all have some kind of knowledge of that, and it contributes a lot to our sound. And he and TRG and I are homies, so it was really fun hanging out with those guys. And then yeah, I mean, I'll kind of go through the rest quickly, like Instant Crush, which, oh my God, I just love the way that rings. We had, from Instant Crush, we had Megan, of course, on vocals as the front woman. And then we had Maddie on drums, and the live drums really took that song to the next level. I loved that. I re-recorded most of my vocal parts except for one at the end that is more of a sampley type of feel, but we upped the tempo of that. Like, we really restructured that song. I would say that's the one that I spent the most time on, like going into the studio physically, also since it was so live instrument oriented, and Tyler Mays was the producer, mixing engineer, recording engineer, and all of that, played a bunch of the instruments. That was pretty incredible. And then our friend Cade, who I met Tyler through, actually was the original producer on that. So it was nice that there was like some amount of continuity between those who had written and produced it, and then those who were remaking it in a different light. And then for Stare You Down, that is the only one that I self-produced. And well, I did some self-production too on Nice Try. So I really enjoy kind of the boppy, like more electronic-y, in the box, like lo-fi pop type of thing. And it felt right for me to take that on, because I think I'd done a bunch of the initial production in the writing stages of Stare You Down. So it was nice to kind of like take that back to its more like lo-fi roots for a second. But I did keep a bunch of the parts that Cade Leggett, who had produced the original, had created. So that was mixed by Alex Besson, who's done some really cool mixing projects for like Alex G, AG Cook, like a bunch of other artists across genres, like indie, rap, like all that stuff, based in LA, Burbank properly. So that was neat. And then, Elon Wright worked on Nice Try and took that to the next level, added a lot of like kind of shine to it, some really cool guitar work. I did some extra layering there as well. And then a lot of that was done kind of asynchronously because Moretti, or Elena is her name. So Elena Moretti, she lives over in LA, or LA maybe at this point, but she had recently just moved to Vegas. So we were doing a lot of this like collaborating kind of offline, recording from our own rooms, and then having Elon do his thing in his studio. So that was an interesting kind of process. And I'm really glad with how that turned out. And we had Cade mix that, so that was really neat. Cade did a lot of lifting on this project and also on a lot of the original songs too. So really glad to have some continuity there. And then 2019, this is the last one, 2019 with Avery Cochrane was, that was made with Nick Casey, who took also a bunch of layers from Cade's original production, but added a lot of like interesting, like tasteful synths that made it kind of pop a lot more, for really lack of a better term. And Avery recorded her vocals over in Nick's studio. I was there, recorded some new layers for mine. Nick did a lot of the guitars, and I guess guitars and basses. Drums we took from Cade's original production, and Cade's originally a drummer, so he did those first drums on 2019. So that's kind of the deep dive of how everything came together and who all worked on it. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. Oh yeah, I mean, there were some other great studio musicians who worked on 2019, like Kirill Polyansky, Kelly Jong, who's my friend, who she just got married. Shout out Kelly. And Jerson Zaragoza, who is my bassist and also plays some amazing guitar. So lots of folks working on things together.
That's super kick-ass.
Yeah.
How did you get connected with all these different producers and studio musicians?
I'm like, how did I? I guess little by little, bit by bit, you know what I mean? I feel like it's different as a solo artist than as a band, because I feel like as a band, you're a whole ecosystem of like you have different skills, and oftentimes someone in the band like is interested in production, then they end up taking that on, and that's awesome because then you really are self-reliant when it comes to your sound, and your sound isn't just like snip snap shape shifting depending on like whoever you're working with. Not to say that like if you're a solo artist and you work with different producers, that's going to be the result, but I think it's nice to like have a more like not officially patented, but you know what I mean, like if you do it all in-house, you might have a more particular specific sound. But yeah, since I'm still in a little bit of an exploration phase, I'm really motivated to work with a bunch of different people. And I'm a pretty social person. Like I like going out and meeting people at shows. I like saying hi online, all that stuff. And when I say hi, or when other people say hi and we work together, we try working together, I'm like, let's keep this up. And so that's kind of how Tyler and I got connected, is partly through Cade, but partly through like the online space of things. And
did you see like that he had worked on something, and then you like did a little bit of research and saw who it was, and then like shot him a DM or something?
Yeah, a lot of producers have these like Spotify playlists or whatever other like disco playlists of stuff that they've worked on, or songwriters also stuff that they've contributed to, and you listen and you're like, yeah, I can see myself going somewhat this direction. And I think also it's part of it's just being a good hang, being a reliable person. I could tell that Tyler was definitely that kind of person. So yeah, he's worked on a lot of like really rock centric things. And I think that was a really interesting thing to bring into my project, and that I want to be doing more of in the future. And he definitely delivered on all of that. So I'm really glad we got to work together. Nick Casey, I met mostly through Avery actually, but he also works with this artist, Stella Mar, shout out Stella, who is incredible and very poppy, more like Charlie XCX inspired like synth poppy, but I'm sure she's got her own kind of like direction too of what she's thinking next. So I may be outdated very soon. But yeah, Nick seems to be working on like a bunch of really amazing things that have momentum, especially, I mean, with Avery too. And also good hang, good person, like immaculate taste in music. So Yeah,
That's
I guess
kick-ass.
that's how we got connected.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of super organic kind of interactions and connections and like friends
Totally.
of friends, things like that.
Yeah, same for Elon, like friends of friends there, lots of mutuals. He is one of the people who run Ruby Room over on, I guess, Airport Way, like South Seattle area. And he's just like also really good person, great taste in music, hard worker, like really has the chops, very creative. And so we worked on an original recently that I'm trying to figure out when is the right time to release some of the new originals that are a little bit more like electronic-y, since I'm kind of going in more of an indie vein right now, trying to like not confuse people, but also be like, get it out there, see what anything does. Like, I don't think that we're always good at predicting like what's going to take off or be successful. And like, we need to let other people be the judges of that sometimes. So, yeah, really exciting. I'm trying to think like, okay, who else was, I mean, Tim and I have been working together for a minute.
So something that I'd love to ask you about, something I'd love to know is when you brought in all these people, like for instance, like when you're working with Justin on a song, I would assume like this is one of the first times that you're like stepping into like a creative space with this person. Were there any challenges that you noticed? And you don't have to get into names or anything like that, but were there any hurdles where you're like, maybe I need to take a different approach because now, you know, I'm collaborating with a different artist who might have like different ideas. So like, did you ever find yourself in a position whenever you guys were working on these songs where you were like, I don't know if I actually feel their creative direction, but maybe you're able to find a compromise, or did everything flow really well and ideas were just very aligned, so to speak?
Ideas were really aligned from the get-go, just because I was very careful in selecting who would be on the EP and who had a sound that was kind of cohesive with mine or cohesive with what I thought the spirit of the track was. And I mean, with Justin, for example, it was really easy because Justin really likes Nobody's Fool. And so it made a lot of sense that he would, I think if you like a song, you maybe understand a song better. So I knew that he would get it, and I know what his music sounds like, and I love it. And I would love to sound more like that sometimes, or like borrow from his wheelhouse. And that was a big motivation in figuring out who I was going to be working with. I mean, like same for Avery on 2019, like she loved that song from the beginning, so I knew she would do something good with it. I love her music, and so it again made sense why everyone was pretty much slam dunking.
That's kick-ass.
Yeah,
that's cool. How did you find out? Like, would you just reach out to them because, I mean, maybe you're already friends, but then you're like, hey, I've been having this idea of doing like a collaborative EP. Are there any of my songs that you like? Was that your approach?
Partly, yeah. It depended. I feel like, well, I mean, Justin was fangirling Nobody's Fool, so I was like, hey, when I had this idea, I was like, hey, you want to work on a remix version of this? Same for Avery in 2019, and she and I became friends through, we both DJ'd day in, day out last year.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I came over to her set and I like introduced myself, and we were like internet homies before, but then we just like got connected, started hanging out, and the collabs EP was an excuse to do more hanging out with people and be like, all right, we have to hang out a few times so we can finish these songs. And so for very like fun process oriented reasons, that's another reason why I wanted to like work on this and have an excuse to hang out with my friends, when music can be such a separate pursuit and can be like isolating at times when you're like in the thick of it. And yeah, Elena Moretti, that is, like, we didn't get to hang out as much in person during this, but I had been wanting to work with her for a while and been admiring her work. And I knew that she would definitely bring the fun to Nice Try. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess a lot can also be done virtually too. So I think I approached her more along the lines of like, hey, what do you want to work on? Which of these songs? And it made sense why she chose Nice Try too. So yeah, I thought that was super aligned. Camille can do anything, man. Like, Camille is so versatile, and we actually thought about doing Camille Kano, that is, for shout out to everybody. But yeah, so like Camille and I thought about taking Stare You Down in so many different directions. We thought about like, are we going to do it in a country way? We thought about for a second, and then we were like, no, let's do it in a little bit more of a like hyper poppy, lo-fi pop type of way. And it was fun to go that direction, but it's so funny how it could have gone like completely almost perpendicular to itself. So yeah, that's what that kind of process was like. Like, we worked in person, again, home, bedroom, studio, whatever. I've since moved places. That place was kind of a nightmare, but some good music was made there. So yeah, that was all neat. I'm like, am I missing? Oh yeah, Instant. Well, I talked a lot about how we made Instant and we met up a lot in person. Like that was a time commitment, but it was so worth it.
So something I admire about you is you're always constantly coming out with really creative music videos. And I want to say you and Avery did like a music video for 2019.
We didn't do music video, but maybe if there's enough popular demand or if someone wants to give us a grant.
I thought I saw something on your Instagram page where you guys were like on a tennis court doing something.
Oh, well, okay, so
else?
we've taken a lot of, I've been getting really into the more DIY type of content and like embracing constraints and being like, you know what, I know I could potentially like scrounge up the funds to do a little video shoot here, but I kind of don't really do video or even photos sometimes unless I can do so on a pretty decent budget. So I got this camcorder last year, and I started just like going around and like recording things on the handheld, and it doesn't always do the best on like TikTok or Instagram or whatever because like it is actually so low quality. I think it's like 720p, but it's a vibe and I really like it and it's free, so it's like whatever. If it flops, who cares? I spent no money on it. Only my hard-earned time.
And it's fun.
It is really fun. It's fun to have a camcorder. I love going to my friends' shows and like taking camcorder footage, and it's nice to really lean into the lo-fi like DIY type of aesthetic and be like, this is exactly what it is. So yeah, we had some friends record little snippets of like our day. We all kind of got together. Everybody on the collabs project got together for a photo shoot back in April, which Bella Petra shot all of. And yeah, we had some other folks providing kind of hands on set with us, but mostly it was like us artists taking handheld camcorder footage of each other like during these photo shoots. So I got a lot of kind of B-roll from that. The photo shoot was of us on the tennis court. And yeah, it wasn't unfortunately a music video, but that would actually be sick if we did a tennis court music video thing. And also that's a reference to Avery's song. Yeah, as of course you get, but for those listening, those watching, Existential Crisis on the Tennis Court is one of Avery's, I would say best songs, but they're all best songs. They're amazing. And she has so much more just waiting to like unleash its glory on the entire internet. But yeah.
Oh, okay. I just had this thought. I remember when I was listening back to our original episode, you were talking about how we're super excited about the future of what Seattle pop is going to be.
Yeah.
And I think there's been a lot of
new
momentum. Artists coming up. Yeah.
There has. Yeah, there definitely has. I think that like there was some amount that was already happening, and now it's just like now we're just getting credit for it. Like it partly is that, but I also think that we're like kind of encouraging each other and being more part of a scene than we are just individuals doing our thing. So it's really inspiring to see everything that like Avery and all the other collaborators on the EP have been doing in the way of like just really quality songwriting and performance and live performance and social media and all of the above. But it's been really inspiring for me to like work with people on those things. And like, for example, for content, like Avery and I have met up to do content, and on all the collaborations, it was also an excuse to meet up for content, like learn content tricks from everybody. So we had little content days with everyone on top of like the photo shoot. So it's been a huge time commitment for people, and like I definitely was not like completely even aware myself of like what the ask would be. I mean, we even did this is something you might be referring to videography wise, but we did a whole series of skits, and those aired at the release show. And I was actually inspired to do those skits by an artist called Campana. TJ is his name. And Campana had a release show, I think towards the top of this year. I can't remember exactly when. I think it was cold out though. That's all I really remember. But he had an amazing album release show where a big motif of his is the outdoors and camping and stuff. Like he calls his fans campers, so you know, Campana. And so he had a tent on stage, and he would do his outfit changes in the tent. And he like came on stage, like he walked onto the stage with like a camelback. Like he actually has a bar about a camelback too, so it kind of makes sense. But like it was just so intentional and cool, and he played all these like comedic skits in between, and it was really inspiring for me because I was like, that's such a good way to buy yourself time while you're doing little transition. So I was really inspired right after that to like do something similar. So I was working with Katrina Vergara on a bunch of video ideas at the time. And Katrina had reached out to me, I think, towards the end of last year to potentially work on some kind of video together, because we are both fellow Asian American women who have left Microsoft to do creative things. And so we connected initially over my music. Like, she found my music somehow. I actually don't even know how, but we're homies now. Like, it doesn't matter. She's so amazing. And she is like hella scrappy. Again, like, I only really work on videos if I can do so on a small budget right now, or if I get crazy grant money, or like if I get a label deal or something, like that's when I'll come in guns blazing. But until then, I'm gonna chill a little bit and be like, how do we make this, how do we have a concept that fits what we have to work with? And Katrina is so good at that, and she's so funny too. When she made my music video for Battery, that was actually her first music video. That's the one that aired at Scope Screenings this summer. And so, I wanted to also work on another project with her based on how that went and how we discovered our mutual love for like comedy within music and like 80s corporate core, like camp, all of the above. So we really dialed it in for the skits and made skits with all of the different folks on the EP. So it was a lot of time for everybody. I'm really grateful that people were down to participate in the project that way and like hear me out and let me see my vision through and let it be our vision too.
Yeah, it's pretty kick-ass. It reminds me of when you talk about vision, of this thing that you said the last time that we talked about seeing something before it even exists. And that makes me think about manifesting. And it's like when you want to like live a certain life or like see a vision come true, then you have to like act like it is already real. Is there anything right now that you are currently seeing that does not exist? Like, is there anything in the future that you can see like bringing to fruition that you're currently imagining or dreaming up?
You know, I feel kind of bad for not thinking that far into the future. Like, sometimes I do get into kind of awkward situations with people like who ask about specifically like, what are your goals? And they expect me to say something that's very numerical and logical, and tangible and like very specific goals. And maybe I should have those. Like, maybe I do need to do more research. And I feel like the holidays are going to be a good time for me to be like, what label would I want to be signed to? Like, who would I want to manage
What would that
me?
look like? Like walking into those meetings, and what kind of people are you talking to, and what do you want from it?
I don't know. I feel like it's an important conversation to be having. It's a good thing to think about. But I also think that like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I know that I have farther to move on TikTok, for example, or like on social media. I have more music to create. And I feel like I don't want to make my business mind like overcompensate for an artist's mind that needs a little bit more work. And I'm trying to be self-aware and honest with myself about like where my efforts are best invested right now.
Yeah.
And even though it's not mutually exclusive, but like sometimes things do just take the time that they take. And I don't want to get too obsessive over a far-flung goal when I can kind of be a little bit more in love with, or maybe somewhat disciplined by, the process that's at hand right now. So I'm trying to stay focused on all of that. But yeah,
well, can you see yourself like starting to reach a point potentially where you might like take your hands off of being like the CEO, so to speak, of your artist project, so you can just focus on art?
Just focus on
like, can you see that?
It's so hard to envision that. I can see that like in the farther future, but a lot of artists I know who are seeing a lot of success right now still have to be so hands-on, and like you do have to watch your own back. And even if you do have a label deal or you do have this or that, you have support elsewhere, it's like it still doesn't mean that you're not the CEO. You just like have more employees or advisors or whatever. So I don't think that really gets relieved realistically, even like far down the line. I think you always have to be prepared to like own your own your brand. And the way that looks over time can be different, but I think like you're still CEO, even if other people are doing more things for you. It doesn't mean that like you're playing arenas and now you're like doing your own set design at the arena tour. Like that would be ridiculous. But at the same time, like no one's going to replace you as CEO at that point unless you're like in a conservatorship type situation.
Right. Like you'll always have a like final say on certain things. Right?
Yeah, totally. I think that this artistry has taught me a lot about leadership and how like democratic I want to be versus how like decisively I want to put my foot down. I think like as a band leader, that's been tough for me and something that I've really had to learn. And yeah, I also think like in terms of, again, having vision, no one's going to check back on me and like constantly creating reminders in my calendar to make sure that like something doesn't fall through the cracks on someone else's end, like reminder to follow up with them. Like mostly I work with people that I really trust, but just because I trust you doesn't mean that I know you're going to follow up in the timeline that I need. So it's like if I realize what my need is, I have to be able to be prepared to like meet that myself if I have to. So yeah, but I think in terms of manifesting something in the future, like I mean, I'm manifesting an amazing show here for Babe Night, Babe's Giving. That's going to be next month. It's going to be a ton of fun. And actually Instant Crush and Avery and I are all on that same bill together. And Babe's Giving, Babe Night, they're an amazing like lineup of dance nights and femme forward, really safe spaces to, party for a cause too, because it's supporting indigenous creativity. It's supporting an organization called Yeehaw, or Yeehaw. I'll figure out how to pronounce it right. But yeah, it's very fitting for pre-Thanksgiving. Like we can party and also feel good about it. So
that's here at Baba Yaga.
It's here at Baba Yaga, yeah, and there's going to be drag upstairs. It's going to be the whole 9 yards. Like I'm really a big fan of, and also kudos to you for making the shows that you play bigger than just a show where people play music. It's like we're supporting a cause, we are educating people, we're bringing community together. So it's nice to have that. It's nice to be part of it. Again, nice to not plan myself. So yeah, really great that Babe Night is having all of us and taking that load off our shoulders.
What's the date?
That is the 26th of November, so the day before Thanksgiving. So I'm not going home for Thanksgiving, but it'll be really nice to be among friends. And yeah, other things that I envision in the future, like I envision people that I'm a fan of that like I really want to meet, that I feel like a personal connection to. But I know some of that's delusional too. Like parasocial is kind of weird these days. Like I think that the point of like how you have to make it as an artist too is other people liking you and being like, oh yeah, it'd be really cool to meet them. And like realistically, like you can't necessarily meet, I mean, anybody could meet me, but like a certain artist of like a certain caliber who's like been in the game for however long that I really admire, like my odds of meeting them, like I don't know if I really will, or if like it's just enough to hear their advice elsewhere, or like hear their stories elsewhere. But I do sort of envision like how freaking cool it would be to like thank some of the people that have inspired me. I do, when I go to Climate Pledge, I like to look around. Sometimes like my friends get weirded out by this when I go with them. They're like, why are you not looking at the stage? Like, why are you just, but I like to look around up at the, I guess we don't call it nosebleed seating, but like if I'm on the floor, I like to look up and around, or I mean, if I'm in the balcony or whatever, I like to look around the whole stadium and be like, whoa, like that's the view from the stage.
Yeah.
Or like if I'm in a festival crowd, like, I mean, I'm not that tall, so I can't really like see things the same way, but I like to turn around and see the audience. I feel like the audience is so much part of a show. And like the way that we all kind of dress up and the way that we move, or in Seattle, we stand, joyfully. And yeah, I kind of envision that in my mind's eye when I think about like where my artist project is going. I'm thinking about like other people that I get to meet and connect with. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I do think about that. I probably do like dream about it and then just forget about it in the morning. But I feel like I just feel the most motivated when I am excited to enjoy the process and I know what the next couple of steps are in the process.
Absolutely. All about the journey and seeing like what's ahead. Something that I'm curious about is, do you think you're close, or do you even have any interest in being a producer for others?
Yeah, I mean, I would have some long-term interest in that. I'm definitely not at a stage right now where I could actually like produce a song end to end with others. I think where I'm at right now is I'm doing a little bit more songwriting these days outside of my project. And what helps a lot with songwriting, especially when it's just like two people in a room or virtually, I've been doing a lot of my co-writes that way. It really helps to be able to like produce my own vocals if I'm top lining for somebody. It helps to be able to lay down a pretty easy beat if I'm brainstorming ideas with an artist. So I think that's kind of where I'm starting out right now. I think when I last spoke to you, I was a lot more into like watching production tutorials and doing a lot of that. And now I think now that I just have more connections with producers who are very aligned with my taste, I don't have as much motivation to be producing things from the ground up myself, but I do have a lot of motivation in the sense that I get a better idea which songs to take to producers and which ones to invest in, because like production, even at a baseline, like costs a lot of money and it does take a lot of time. So it should cost that much money. And again, a situation where I would love to be able to pay people more, because I know that like, even though it's a lot of money, it's still like arguably underpaying for other people's art. And so I'm really grateful for everybody who I've gotten to work with so far. And I'm excited about some folks that I have my eye on for the future and get to learn from. But yeah, I can know, is this song viable, and like speak in producer language. That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've definitely probably picked up a lot of experience in the last 2 years. Something I'm interested in talking about is what you've learned in your approach to handling not only like content and like algorithmic stuff with like Instagram and TikTok, but for streaming. What are like some bigger lessons that you've picked up, or like some or aha moments when it comes to trying to get your music out through streaming?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I've cracked the code, so I'm just kind of learning alongside other people. I think for streaming, if I'm not focusing on social media itself, I would say waterfall releases are really helpful. So waterfall releases being when you release one song, and I know you probably know, but I'm just saying for everybody involved, like you release a project song by song, and you're not like dropping a lead single and then an entire EP, or like two singles and then an EP. You're like, this is how I released All My Friends Are Stars. Like I released one song, and then I released a 2-pack with the new song at the beginning, and then I released a 3-pack with the newest song at the beginning. So that's categorized as a single by most distributors. And then after that, 4 tracks becomes an EP, even though it's not like the EP, but that's how you roll it out. And then
are you doing like you give yourself like the minimum 6 weeks, and do you pitch a song and then I lost my third question, but are you like following like a certain formula for each release?
Yeah, that would have been better if I had been spacing them out a little bit more. I kind of had to condense everything down because I wanted to get things out there pretty fast. I wanted to get it out before the end of the year and then by the release show. And I was in a little bit of a holding pattern for, I swear, like maybe almost 2 months, because I was trying to change my name and I didn't want to release my next release until I'd done the name change, because unfortunately, when you change your name, you can't just update a profile like on streaming. It's actually a metadata problem where your name is baked into the track by track, like release by release catalog. And so you have to go and re-upload your entire catalog that you want to be ported over into the next profile, and you have to create a new profile to do that. And when you do that, your followers don't follow you there. Like you have your followers on social media, whatever, but like you get to preserve your monthly listeners once the music is like taken down from the old profile and it's moved over, and like radio, whatever, like continues to surface your songs. But because you save the same like track ISRCs, so you don't lose your stream counts, you don't lose a lot of that, but you do lose your followers on that are directly associated to the old profile. And I was like, if new people discover my music and they like it, if they follow my old profile, for me to only like move to a new profile, then that's not going to be the best. So that's partly why I ended up releasing a lot of, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks that I was even spacing out the last 3 releases in between there. So that was not ideal, but it was still better than releasing everything at once, I think, from like a marketing perspective. I do want to pace myself more in the future. A strategy I'm thinking about is like, do I want to tease my content on social media, or did I just call song content? I really don't like that. I want to tease my song using content on social media. That's what I meant. Before I come up with the song. I think the danger of that is sometimes you get like so excited about teasing a song, then when it's out, you're like, I'm out of ideas, man. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm so burnt out. So I'm going to try and not have that happen. But I think I want to like just let things take a little bit more time. And I also want to buy myself some more time to create more songs that are within kind of like the same category of stuff that I'm working on. So I don't have any more planned releases for the rest of the year, but I will be starting back up pretty early next year. And so that's kind of a theory I want to test, is like you say, like spacing things out, having a lot more lead time, knowing exactly when something's going to come out, so you can really have the best chance of Spotify editorial, which is like, it's still a tough go though.
Yeah.
Even
Bit
if
of a
you do
lottery
Reddit.
system.
It's such a lottery system. I've only gotten one placement before, and
That's pretty kick-ass.
It was kick-ass. Yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, I mean, it can change the game for some people, but a lot of it comes from like, you already showed like the viability of that song on social media. And I think that Spotify editors are wanting to go with more of a proven track record nowadays, which is more like, probably, I mean, what does your streaming history look like in the past? But then also like, how is this doing on social media? Like, how do you connect with real people here and not have us do the work? Like, I think that it's very tempting as artists to be like, once we get this big shot to like co-sign on what I'm doing, then I won't have to do any more work and they'll have done that for me. And I think that the case is that we still have to like earn fans person by person and like make new friends person by person. And that's a very like human scale thing, and not something that like we can really trust anybody else to do better than we do. So yeah, I think content is very like integrated with the streaming kind of strategy.
Yeah.
But I think spacing it out is a way that I want to try going, but continuing to waterfall, because I think that really gives each track the best chance at being promoted. It makes it very clear for you as the artist to be like, what am I plugging?
And
right
the best
now?
chance to be listened to, because I feel like, and I can attest to this as a listener, I don't always, like if someone drops a collection of songs, I don't always, it doesn't feel right to me to like listen to all of those on Spotify. But if someone drops a single, I just feel like there's more attention to it, you know?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
As a listener.
Yeah, like the ask is like, go listen to my 3 or 4 minute thing, or in my case, like 2 or 3 minutes.
And I'm just like,
love
ooh,
a
I
short
like
song.
this song, and then I can just click like, and then, you know,
Yeah.
because my attention span could be really short, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to move on to
As
the next
is everyone's. Yeah, but then also you have to keep in mind, you are a music fan. You are a music creator. You are going to understand the magnitude of how important it is for you to listen to your friend's new release or whoever's new release. And other people, like, I think a lot of us creators don't understand that when we send something to a friend, we're like, hey, watch this video, or like, hey, like, listen to this song, or like, read this article. It's like, that actually feels like a pretty sizable ask to listen to even a pretty short song, because people's attention spans are so short. But like, our appetite for music consumption is different from other people's. And I mean, sometimes it can go the other way around, where I'm like, I don't want to listen to music for a second. Like, I've been doing too much of this, where you can kind of get burnt out. And I know some other artists share my perspective on that, but I think we really do have to be humble as artists and be like, it's asking a fair amount for someone to go and check out my song when they didn't have to. Like, even if they like click a thing on my whatever social media bio and it like takes them into their streaming app and then they listen to the song there, it's like, that still took some effort. You had to listen to the song, and like, who knows, maybe you're not just passively listening to it either. Like, maybe you're like sitting down and really taking the music in. So I think that it's great to have a streaming strategy, but it's also great to like take things back to the basic mechanism of like, these are individual people listening to your song and like being generous with their time and like giving you a chance. And that's an amazing thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love hearing that. a question I have for you, because right now we're seeing like this huge trend where like the CEO of Spotify is doing a lot of disagreeable things for a lot of people, and we're seeing a lot of artists just like completely removing their music from Spotify, which honestly I think is a privileged thing to be able to do.
It is.
Because the question I have for you is like, do you think that there is really any viable way for an artist to grow without streaming?
Yeah, I think that there is a viable way. I don't think that you're maximizing your odds if you take your music off of streaming. But I think it's like your prerogative as an artist to do what you want to. Like no one's going to stop you from doing that. And like you don't even have to have any music out to be a viable musician. You know, there are a lot of different kind of revenue streams you can have as a musician. But if your goal as a musician is to be known as widely as possible for your recorded work, then you are hampering your odds by taking your music off of streaming, and that's a goal of mine. So even though I heavily disagree with what I guess former at this point Spotify CEO has been doing, and what Spotify at large is doing, trying to avoid paying artists appropriate royalties, and trying to act like they're like an advocate
AI
for artists.
music.
Yeah, push AI music, not really get with the program like Deezer or whatever, like not really get with the program on like safeguards against AI taking over the music industry.
Yeah. Which I love that, a little bit of a sidebar, but California passed a law saying that you can't use an AI actor to replace a real actor.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I feel like that's where our power is like if we can just get legislation passed to be like, this is a valuable thing, artists who are performing should make this amount of money. Like I feel like that's all it takes is just like getting everybody together to like pass laws, you know?
Yeah, I think that we do need to solve human problems in a human way and not treat technology as a savior. I have a lot of thoughts about this. And I mean, probably somewhat out of date at this point since I haven't kind of worked in that industry for a little while now, actually, I'm proud to say. But I do keep tabs here and there, and it's part of culture, just the way that music is part of culture. And I think that there are some people who are techno-optimists who believe that once the technology gets better, once the algorithm gets more refined, that's when we'll really see payoff, and like we just have to trust in the process, and like once we can come up with the most excellent technology, then our problems will be solved. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think using technology to solve every problem is the best way to solve problems. Like, for example, I used to work in the AR/VR space, and one of the exciting to me applications that I hadn't really done a ton of research or personal like experience with, but one of the exciting applications of that technology was teaching empathy. I don't even know how I kind of bought into this at a certain stage, but there was some sort of like story work program. It was like a choose your own adventure where you'd put on your headset and you would like meet these different characters and you would like interact with them, and you would like make different decisions at different parts along the process, and it was intended to build empathy among people. Yeah, sure, you could build empathy that way, or you could listen to a song and you could be in a different state of mind. You could hear someone's, very passionate lyricism about something that they went through and be like, wow, I have hardly anything else in common with this person, but I can really relate to like this particular sentiment that they felt, and like that's amazing that they shared it with me that way. Like, we don't need to solve our problems in a very high tech kind of way. And again, like, I don't think that we're going to have non-corrupt technology because the technology itself gets better. I think that, again, that's like a human thing that we create where we need to regulate. So yeah, I don't know. It's unfortunate that like everybody's so disjointed about this, but it's interesting times to speculate on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what I'd like to close out with is, do you have like any particular messaging or philosophy for music, and when I talk about messaging, like, is there anything that you want to like resonate with people who connect with your music? Like, is there anything specific you want to share?
Yeah, I want to inspire others who are thinking about creating something at whatever level, whatever like amount of hustle they want to bring into it, or whether it's just like something that's expressly for themselves. It doesn't have to be like start an artist project, quit your job, like do this, do that. I didn't know I was going to do any of that anyway, and I don't think that I'm successful now or successful just because I decided to do that. Like I feel good about what I've done, but I also think that there's a time and place for like curiosities, whether they even turn into hobbies that have any amount of consistency. I just think that there is a special energy to creating things with your friends. I'm really glad that I was able to do that most recently, and not even just on collabs EPs. I work with people who genuinely are my friends that I enjoy being around. I think the opportunity for healing yourself, healing your inner child through making art is amazing, and I think that everybody deserves the right to that. And I want to encourage anybody who's thinking about collaborating with others or like reaching out and doing something kind of different with their community, or like going to an open mic or whatever, or going to museum, whatever it is, like indulging that side of you and not necessarily knowing where it's going to go. I think when I first started out as my old artist project name, which was JUL ET, pronounced Juliet, we all understand after that long explanation why I decided to change it to my legal name. But I didn't want to have it be my legal name at the beginning because I didn't feel like someone with my name had really a license to create art, because the only place that I'd seen my name was really like on papers since I was a kid, and like, in the attendance, in the school attendance, and like now on my email signatures and on LinkedIn and my alias and my corporate badge and all that stuff. And it just seemed like, what a freaking tool bag. Like she would never make cool music. Like she could never be cool or whatever. And there's just such a weird culture clash of like the academic, the corporate, the technologically minded, and like the musician, the creative, like the artist and all of that. And it doesn't really have to be that way. I think that you can fuse them together. And I know a lot of people who have a crossover between those things, or semi-unlikely crossovers among a lot of things. Like people are complex, and I think it took me a while to realize like, oh, I don't need license. Like you have license to do it if you're just doing it, and you can do it. So you do have license to do it, and you can call your project whatever you want to. And there's nothing that's stopping you, and you don't have to have the same hobbies as those around you, and you don't have to even understand where you're going with this to explore curiosity. So that's what I would really want to harp on and inspire others in some kind of way to do.
Well, I think you're absolutely doing that, because I see you as a force in the Seattle music scene. You're making a lot of cool things happen, and I know that that is causing ripple effects, and other people are going to do the same. From like my initial conversation on episode 2 of the Red Bull Jam, right before your episode, talking to Henry Mansfield about like, how can we make shows something more? Yeah. And here we are, 2 years down the road, and you've done exactly that and continue to do that.
I think I was inspired by the episode, though. I think I was. Henry's amazing. I was inspired by Henry's show. Yeah, that was awesome. Like Henry, Alex Standish, Ives all played a show together a couple months ago, and I was really inspired by those performers too. So we are creating something together. Yeah. It's happening. Something's in the air.
Absolutely. We're like all like in a class of like like Seattle music in the mid 2020s. And I think it's really cool. It's really special, and I think that we're definitely on to something. And I think as long as we stay motivated and find ways to support each other and just keep being inspired, I think there's a lot of good things to come from what we're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Dude, this is a part of that mission.
Yeah. Next time we won't wait 2 years to have you back.
Yeah, okay, please. I would love to come back soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Juliet, thank you again so much for joining us here at Baba Yaga. And I wish I could be here for your show here at Baba Yaga for the Babe Night Thanksgiving.
Babesgiving!
Babesgiving! Gosh, that sounds like so much fun.
It is going to be fun. You'll be there in spirit.
I will. Well, sweet. Thank you so much, Juliet.
Thank you.
We did it.
Yeah!
That was cool.
That was really cool. That was a great conversation.
Yeah.
Whew, good questions. You're so organized.
I like that you just